Joining me right now is Competitive Enterprise Institute Director of Center for Technology and Innovation, Jessica Maluzhin. Jessica, thanks very much for being here this morning. You heard Zatko's testimony. He said that the FBI informed Twitter that at least one Chinese agent was working at the company. We also know how the FBI told social media to ignore or censor the story on Hunter Biden. Your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are that it's a much better use of the FBI's time to be identifying foreign agents working for hostile governments inside U.S. companies, rather than telling those companies what they shouldn't and should be allowed having Americans say on their platform. So I think those are kind of the good and bad aspects of the FBI that we're learning about the last couple weeks in the tech space. But this hearing yesterday was a little bit of a mixed bag. Some of it was sort of complaining or making allegations that Twitter is sort of a shoddily run company on the security side. That shouldn't be a surprise to many of us. That's why they find themselves with a 2011 consent decree with the Federal Trade Commission, because they hadn't been doing a good job. In that agreement, they say we're going to work on it and do better. So if they're in violation of that agreement, that's a legal problem for the company and a big deal, as are foreign agents working inside U.S. companies. But some of the revelations yesterday, I don't think a lot of Americans are as surprised as apparently many U.S. senators are, that these apps on our phone have our phone numbers and sometimes know where we are with our phones, and basically have a lot of information. But some of that information is in the public record. Mm-hmm. So, we used to call this a phone book. So we kind of have to sort through what's a real scare here and what needs to be addressed, and what's just sort of a learning curve for all of us about what these companies know about us.
Yeah, look, Christopher Wray has been telling us now for years about the threat of China and the surveillance campaigns that are underway. I just don't know what they're doing about it. He keeps saying it, but, obviously they told Twitter that there could be spies on the payroll. But what should they be doing about it?
Well, I mean, listen, I think Twitter has every incentive to not want that sort of thing in their company. That's dangerous, and that would lead to a huge problem for them in terms of trust with their users. But of course, the elephant in the room with that problem is TikTok, right? I mean, that's a Chinese company. So if you're worried about what one guy in Twitter can see what we're all doing on the platform, you should be very concerned about Twitter, which is, accessible by the Chinese government at any time, as all companies there.
That's right. Twitter shareholders, meanwhile, approved the $44 billion takeover deal that Elon Musk is now trying to get out of. Musk also claimed on Twitter yesterday that his tweets are being suppressed. Jessica, what does this all mean for the lawsuit that's set to start on October 17th? What do you think? How do you think this plays out?
Well, I think that, the specific allegations that Musk is making against Twitter to get him out of the deal aren't the same as the ones we saw from the whistleblower. But the judge in that case has allowed them to be entered into the case. So we'll see what it impacts. Again, things that are actually illegal matter a lot more than just problems with the company that maybe Musk should have looked into doing his due diligence before he agreed. But the shareholder vote yesterday means that Twitter can go forward and push back on Elon trying to get out of that deal. So we're in the discovery phase of that case. It's a very sophisticated court there. They deal with these issues all the time. So I think there'll be a lot of substance that comes out of that. We'll learn a lot about Twitter and a lot about that deal. And again, like you said, that starts in earnest in October.
All right, let's talk about the Senate hearing. Current and former executives from Meta, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok as well, expected to testify today before the Senate Homeland Security Committee, Jessica. Clearly, the surveillance campaigns will come up now that we know the FBI warned Twitter, at least, and perhaps other companies about foreign surveillance. What are you expecting to come out of this hearing?
Well, I mean, I'm hopeful that what comes out of it is a more direct conversation about the issue that I think Americans are really worried about with these tech companies. That involves some amount of privacy concerns, but it's largely about the speech stuff. And if the government, our government, has been influencing these platforms to suppress American speech, that's a huge problem. That should never be allowed, and that's a violation of the First Amendment.
Yep.
If that's what's been happening, that needs to be dealt with. But I will say I'm a little skeptical. The tech hearings that have happened in the last couple years in Washington haven't always been the most substantive exchanges. There's a lot of political hay to be made, and even more probably with the election coming up. So we'll see if they can keep it on track and we can have a fruitful conversation about these issues.
All right, Jessica, we'll be watching. Good to see you. Thanks so much.